Good morning, students. Now we are going to start with the new chapter, that is chapter number 8, birds. Now what we are going to study in this chapter is all about the birds. We'll read about the beaks, the features that the birds have, their feet and claws, how birds fly, their feathers and nest of the birds. So all the features and the things they need, that we'll study in this chapter. Now let's start. Open page number 78 of your book. What is given on page number 78? See, birds are of various colors and sizes. Look at the picture given below. Label the parts of the bird correctly. Also write one word to describe each part. There is a picture of the bird given to you. You have to label the parts of the bird correctly. Also write one word to describe each part. Now, first is, see where the arrow is going. First is beak, with which the bird eats its food. Next is wings, with which the birds fly, that are wings. Next is toes, toe of the bird. And the last one is claws. Claws, what is the function of claws in birds? Claws, they help to grasp the things, चीजों को grasp करने के लिए. That is the function of claws in birds. Birds do not have teeth, they have beaks. Let us learn about the beaks of the birds. We have teeth to eat food, but birds, they do not have teeth to eat their food. Instead of teeth, what do they have? They have beak, with which they pick their food and eat it. Now, the topics that we are going to cover in this chapter, that are first, beaks. We'll read about their beaks. Next, feet and claws. Next, how birds fly. Next, feathers. And the last one is nest of birds. So these are the topics that we are going to cover in this chapter. Now let's start with the first topic, that is beaks. What are beaks? That it is on page number 79. See, it is on page number 79. A bird uses its beak to catch and eat food. Different birds have different kinds of beaks depending upon the food they eat. Birds such as a sparrow and pigeon eat nuts and seeds. These birds have strong, short and hard beaks that help them to crack open their food. Now, what is the, first of all, they have told about the function of the beak. What is the function of the beak? A beak helps to catch and eat food. We have seen, all have seen birds, they catch food with the help of their beaks and then they eat it. Different birds, they have different types of beaks. Shapes of the beaks, they differ from bird to bird. किसी एनिमल की पॉइंटेड है बीक, किसी की शार्प है, किसी की छोटी है, किसी की बड़ी है. So different birds have different types of beaks डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द फूड दे ईट, जिस तरह का वो खाना खाते हैं उसके डिपेंडिंग उनकी बीक की शेप है। Birds such as sparrow and pigeon eat nuts and sparrow and pigeon, they eat nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds, they are very hard. So to break them, the beaks, they should be strong. So what type of beaks do they have? These birds, they have strong, short and hard beaks. Their beaks are very hard and strong. That help them to crack open their food, because seeds and nuts, they are very hard. So beaks, they should also be very hard to break this type of food. So pigeons and sparrows, see the shape of the beaks they have. See, their beaks, they are very sharp. They have sharp and pointed, and they are short in size. Sharp and short in size. Next, flesh-eating birds such as eagle, vulture, and hawk feed on small birds and animals. They have strong, sharp, and hooked beaks for tearing the flesh. Flesh-eating birds, the birds that eat flesh, that eat other animals. So flesh, to tear flesh, the beaks should be strong. So the flesh-eating birds such as eagle, vulture, hawk, they eat small animals. To tear the flesh of these small animals, they have sharp, strong and hooked beaks. What is hooked beak? Hooked means in the shape of a hook. These are hooked beaks. ऐसे जैसे हुक होती है, that is hooked beak. See the shape. They have hooked beaks. Seal them. Their beaks, they are very strong, sharp and hooked. Next, birds such as woodpeckers have strong pointed beaks. Such beaks help them to poke holes into hard tree trunks and pull out insects from the holes. Hoopoe uses its beak to look for food inside existing tree holes. Birds such as woodpecker. What is woodpecker? Woodpecker is a bird that searches or finds its food from the tree trunk of the tree. वो उसमें होल बनाते हैं wood में, trunks of the tree, and then they get food from there. What is their food? They get insects are there in the trunks, so they eat that insect. So what type of beaks do they have? They have strong pointed beaks. Such beaks help them to poke holes. Sharp, they have very sharp beaks. बहुत sharp होती हैं उनकी beaks. Why they have sharp beaks? Because they need to make holes in the trunk of the tree. See bete, the beaks of woodpecker and hoopoe, they are very pointed and sharp. With these beaks, they make holes in the trunk of the tree and then they pull out the insects that are present in that hole. So hoopoe, it uses its beak to look for food inside the existing tree holes. जो भी holes बनी होती हैं trees में, so hoopoe, it takes food from that holes only. Woodpecker, it makes holes. So this is the difference between them. Next, birds, water birds such as duck and goose have broad and flat beaks. These birds take in muddy water with insects, worms and plants using their beaks. Now, water birds, the birds that live in water, what type of beaks do they have? They have very broad and flat. What is broad? Broad means that are not very sharp. ऐसी होती हैं उनकी beaks. They are broad and flat. Flat, they are flat, totally flat. These birds take in muddy water with insects. So with the help of these flat beaks, वो muddy water ले जाते हैं अपने अंदर because they live in water. And in that muddy water, what is present? Insects are present and worms and plants. Then they eat that food. So this is the function of flat and broad beaks in water birds. See the shape of their beaks. See, they have very broad beaks. These are broad beaks, flat and broad. So they take in muddy water that consists of insects, worms and other water animals, and then they eat them. Birds such as the sunbird and hummingbird suck nectar from the flowers. They have long and pointed beaks which help to suck nectar. Next birds are sunbird and hummingbird. What is their food? They take nectar from the flowers. Nectar means juice. They take juice from the flowers. वो juice को suck करते हैं from the flowers. And to suck that juice, they have long and pointed beaks which help to suck nectar. So for the sucking, they have very long beaks. Long beaks. So with the help of these long beaks, they suck nectar.